And I mean, yesterday was, he went into talking about like, he loves Tom Cruise and A Few Good Men, and he's looking forward to the opportunity to be there in a courtroom and doing all of that. That's Jim, okay? So he marches to the beat of a very unique drum, and we saw a lot of that. But let's dive into the particulars of it. Before I get to Heather with all of the information, Paul, we've talked about this a lot. If indeed Jim Harbaugh was notified of his suspension because it was on social media and someone showed it to him, what is your reaction to that?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to disqualify Greeny. I mean, I am sadly entertained by Jim Harbaugh because he does live, it seems, in an alternative universe. I mean, I sometimes wonder whether he's trying to become a national championship winning coach or the new host of The Daily Show. I mean, he just doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I was saddened really by what I saw yesterday, because he is so detached from reality. It just doesn't matter whether he was informed by a phone call from the commissioner, by his AD or president, or by Twitter. It's still the same. He is not an innocent party here. He's being accused of serious things, and that's why the Big Ten acted the way it did.
All right, Heather, catch us up here. I'm interested in anything you feel the audience needs to know. Open up the notebook.
Okay, two things. One, Jim Harbaugh and Michigan Athletic Director Ward Manuel could speak and will be available to and prepared to, if necessary, on Friday. My understanding is they still don't know the exact timing of when that would be, so it's possible they fly with the team on Friday or they fly to Maryland together privately. It's also important to understand what their argument is and has to be on Friday in order for a judge to say, okay, you can coach. There are two main points here. One, Michigan has to prove that if this goes to court, they would have a fighter's chance to win it. And two, that if Harbaugh is suspended, it would cause irreparable harm to him in the program. And their argument on that is this is a once-in-a-lifetime chance for these players and coaches to compete for a Big Ten title and a national title. And my understanding is also that the judge does not necessarily have to rule in court at that moment at the end of it. So it's a wait and see as far as when that decision is. As of right now, we don't know when it would actually be made. And I'm not sure, Greeny, if it's another 11th hour type thing, but obviously Michigan officials are hoping that they know the answer by the end of the day on Friday.
And with no disrespect to my buddy Dominic Foxworth, who's sitting right next to me, the Maryland game is a game that most people, I think, would assume that the Wolverines could handle without their head coach. The following week, of course, is the monster game, as every year, with Ohio State, and that's where you would think the presence of a head coach might make a difference. I also want you to hear something else that Jim Harbaugh said yesterday that a lot of people reacted to, and I think it is an interesting question. Let's play that.
It's got to be America's team. It's got to be America's team. America loves a team that beats the odds, beats the adversity, overcomes what the naysayers and critics, so-called experts think. That's my favorite kind of team.
Paul, is Michigan now America's team?
They are not. And Greeny, the two of us are probably the only folks on this panel who remember why we go back 40 some odd years when the Cowboys became America's team. They were called America's team because they were on television every single week when we didn't have what we have today. I don't really look at Michigan as America's team because I view it through a different prism. I view it as a team you can really stand up and cheer for. To me, Michigan reminds me of what Jim is trying to do is replicate the University of Miami in yesteryear when they were the bad boys of college football, and they got dressed up in fatigues. They did things to stand out. I mean, this program is accused of cheating. Let's not forget that. That is not, to me, emblematic of what he is trying to get across there.
What do you think, Heather? I understand Paul's point. I think what Harbaugh is trying to say is that, now it's us against the world. We're the underdogs. We're all we've got. Everyone is taking their shots at us. They took the coach off the field the day before the game. And now look at these kids going out there and playing, and the interim coach crying, standing there on the field. I understand the point that he's making. Heather, is there anything else we should add here?
This is America's most polarizing team. That's what this is, because the people watching this are either Michigan fans who are 100% in line with everything as Harbaugh is saying and us against the world mentality, and there are people out there who are saying you broke a rule. You broke an NCAA rule and are suspended for the second time this season. Remember, he was suspended the first 3 games. So yes, this team is absolutely galvanized. They've got their beanies and their shirts and all of those things, and us against the world and bloody noses for Blake Corum, and the image of it is fantastic. But this is espionage. This isn't, it's exactly what Paul is trying to say, okay? This is a good college football espionage story, and that's what's so polarizing about it.
Give me something.